that November is when he rejected this EU deal. Okay, November. And all of a sudden in February, there's these protesters in Independence Square. Like that long later. It took that long. It was that long. That's how long it was. That's totally normal, right? I disagree. I mean, I don't know exactly. Anyway, here's my thought. You know what? You don't even need my thought. What you need is you need the facts. So let's just read about November. Okay, the Ukrainian government has stunned the European Union, of course, because they're the mob. Like, you don't say no to the mob. Announcing it's stepping back from a trade deal with the bloc and would instead pursue greater ties with Russia. Okay, and I want to remind you that right now, as we speak, the propaganda that's coming out of the United States is that Russia is forcing their way into the Ukraine, okay, and they're trying to take over Crimea and keep it for themselves, and yeah, and what's not getting reported in the United States are the freaking neo-Nazis, okay? So here's the thing. The people that are protesting Yanukovych are freaking neo-Nazis. They want to ethnically cleanse the Ukraine. Because you see what's going on is in Crimea, there are mostly Russian ethnic people, okay? And in the rest of the Ukraine, it's different ethnicity. And so here, let me find this video because this is a great example of why I feel more and more like we're in North Korea every day. I really just do. So let me see if I can get this thing to pull up again. Oh my gosh, bear with me, guys. And it's complicated. It is. You know, you think Putin is this evil guy, but the stuff that I've seen on The Daily Show and Colbert aren't even accurate. And I can't show you all these videos right this minute. But here's the first one. These are protesters literally setting the police on fire. Okay? That's the first video. And that is the protesters that are probably the neo-Nazis. We're not talking about the average citizens that are that mad at Yanukovych. Because according to Putin, actually, in an interview that I actually watched, whereas Jon Stewart simply criticized the first 5 minutes of it and obviously did not watch the rest of it, it's obvious that Yanukovych, or Yanukovych is what I thought, but it looks like it's spelled Yanukovych, listened to the people, okay, and after all this fighting broke out, he was like, okay, we'll have a vote. You know, we'll see if you want to go to Russia. But Russia's not even, like, accepting that. Just because they vote and say we want to go to Russia, it doesn't mean that Russia's like, yeah, come on. And it certainly doesn't mean that Russia's just, like, sending troops in there. Although there is some debate on that. And my argument there is, so what if they're sending troops in there? And I'll get to why in just a minute, okay? This image here that you're going to see, and I hope it shows up here. Let's see if you guys can actually watch this. Are police literally getting bombed, okay, with fire bombs by these protesters, which I believe, you know, could very well be operatives, or who knows. But the protesters are supposedly Ukrainians, okay? Supposedly Crimeans or Ukrainians, I don't know. When really, when you look at these videos, you can see something different. It's kind of like if you think about Syria. In Syria, what's going on? Well, we're funding the rebels, and the rebels are Al-Qaeda. So you think of it like that. And they're not even from Syria, a lot of them. And they're causing a lot of problems. And there's a debate as to whether it was the rebels or whether it was the actual Syrian government that fired those that gas, the sarin gas. We don't really know the truth because we're like in North Korea as far as our press is concerned. Sorry, deal with it. Anyway, So here's the second video. Freedom fighters beat man with batons while he's laying on the ground. These are those neo-Nazis, right? You don't hear about the neo-Nazis here in America. Okay, see the picture of the neo-Nazi, guys? Do you see that? I hope you see that. Because I really want you to notice that it's real. But this is who our government supposedly is supporting. The freaking neo-freaking Nazis. These are the guys that are protesting the evil government, okay? Sorry, let me just try to get out of here so you can see this neo-Nazi guy. I want you to look at it for a second because I really want it to sink into you, okay, that it's real. It's a real thing, okay? All right, so just keep your eye on this neo-Nazi guy. All right. We're, you know, like, why do we even have a say over there anyway? What's our, you know, what's our stake in this? Obviously, it has to do with this EU deal because of the global government that is so desperately trying to be instilled. If the guy who runs Ukraine, the legal president, who was democratically voted in, okay, wants to say no and go with Russia, oh well, get over your, you know, manhood swinging contest between Obama and Putin and deal with it. So maybe Putin has another ally. Okay, that doesn't mean that we need to freaking spaz out on everyone and support the flippin' neo-Nazis. Now let me show you this video because this is disturbing and you have to understand it's real. Oh my gosh, this is not what Jon Stewart is reporting, guys. He's full of it. I'm so disappointed because he's funny and I liked him before, but not now. Let me see if I can skip ahead. This is an interview with the BBC. They're showing all this horrible stuff that's going on, but he does an interview with these neo-Nazis. I want you to hear what they say. I mean, it's disturbing.
Far-right groups. When it came to confrontations with the police, it was often the nationalists who were the loudest and the most violent.
Let me do this because I want you to hear it too. I want you guys to hear this. Ready? National socialist themes are popular amongst some of us, he says. The idea of one nation. Not everyone in our organization shares this idea, but some people do believe in it. What about you, he says. I do, personally, the guy says. He says, explain. Well, I like the idea of one nation, says the neo-Nazi. I wanted there to be one nation, one people, one country. Remember, the Crimeans are Russian, okay? The interviewer says, what does that mean? A clean nation. Here's where it sounds like Hitler. But not like under Hitler, the guy says. In our own way, a little bit like that. So forget the fascism, but just keep the killing people part. Basically is what the guy says. Okay? That's what I wanted you to hear. Alright. I really want to see it. So he says, those who like Russia, let them move to Russia. Ukraine will be just for the Ukrainians. So this is what I wanted you to see. These are the guys protesting the legal president, the actual legal, democratically elected, as far as I know, pretty darn sure, president of the Ukraine. Okay? The same guy who rejected this EU deal a couple months before all hell broke loose. And let me find Dennis Kucinich, because Dennis Kucinich actually commented on this too. Let's say, screw Jon Stewart. I'm not even going to show that clip. He just makes me so mad. I won't show the interview with Putin, but you can go to RT and you can see the full interview with Putin. But I will put the links below on YouTube and everything for you guys to see that one thing about those videos. Because, anyway, here's from davidick.com. U.S. presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich says U.S. instigated Ukraine crisis. Okay? I really hope I can get my point across here. So let me just do this. Here's the headline. Okay. Quote, Tuesday evening while speaking to Fox News host Bill O'Reilly, presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich dropped information on the situation that is rarely heard in the mainstream media. In this interview, Kucinich revealed that the U.S. government was guilty of funding some of the violent groups who have overrun the country. Now, here's what really disturbs me, guys. It says funding some of the violent groups, but he didn't have quite enough guts to say which violent groups. But I just showed you what the violent group, the Nazis. Now, how many times, if you are subscribed to me on YouTube, and please subscribe to me on YouTube on Eden Cultures, or go to my website, edencultures.com, or follow me on Blog Talk, of course, here, please, and whatever. Twitter, I'm everywhere. Facebook, I'm all over. How many times have I talked about the Nazis and the whole Project Paperclip and us, half of the stuff that we do, Nazi ideology, guys. Nazi ideology, okay? You know, I love Jim Marrs, too, and his whole book, The Fourth Reich. I've got some videos on that. It just seems like it. And I know the Nazis are fascist, and then supposedly Obama's father supposedly was a Marxist, which is more like communism. But as the actual neo-Nazi himself said, those are two sides of the same coin, and they're not concerned with that. What they are concerned with is ethnic cleansing, okay? They're literally beating people down in the streets, okay? The Russian ethnic citizens of Ukraine that democratically voted to secede, but after their president was on the run. But he was on the run because these guys showed up, and they're bombing, they're throwing the police. I mean, policemen, see, here's the thing. In the United States, when you see a video of a policeman in riot gear, he's usually the one with the baton and the taser killing people. In this video that I just showed you guys a clip of, the police are standing there with shields and fire extinguishers, and these neo-Nazi guys are the ones catching them on fire. They're just trying desperately to maintain order. So Yanukovych basically has fled the country at this point. Where are these neo-Nazis coming from, guys? Here's Dennis Kucinich saying, we're funding some of these groups. Well, they're neo-Nazis. That's what they are. So let's keep reading this article of Dennis Kucinich, okay? When he asked how he would handle the crisis if he were president, Kucinich replied by saying, quote, "What I do is not have U.S. aid and the National Endowment for Democracy working with taxpayer money to knock off an elected government in the Ukraine, which is what they did. I wouldn't try to force the people of Ukraine into a deal with NATO against their interest, because remember, it's more expensive oil for them. Same thing they did to Saddam. They didn't care that Saddam was ethnically cleansing for decades and working with the CIA. They didn't care until he wanted to cut the oil barons' prices. He wanted to cut them out and offer oil and export it himself at a lower price. Then all of a sudden they cared. And then bam, the first Gulf War happened. So here he's admitting that's what's going on. So he says it's against their economic interest. So O'Reilly says, so it's the USA's fault that Putin rolled in? We made them do it? And he said, Bill O'Reilly, if you don't believe in cause and effect, I don't know what I can do for you. Thank you, Dennis Kucinich. I don't even know. I guess he's a Democrat. Whatever. Right now, he's got my freaking vote. That's all I gotta say. Because I'm just, like, so fed up. Like I said, I'm not even going to show you the Jon Stewart clip because it makes me so freaking mad. It really does. It just makes me irate. It makes me literally irate. Let me tell you. Okay? To see, because they're like, he takes the first 5 minutes of Putin's interview, and Putin says, let's have a conversation. But then he says, ask me all your questions, I'll try to answer them, don't interrupt. Okay. Then Jon Stewart cuts it off there and says, well, I guess having a conversation in Russia means shut the F up. Well, that's the first 20 minutes of the hour and 4-minute interview. And after the first 20 minutes, they do have a conversation. He is sitting down with them, answering questions back and forth. I've never once seen our president do that. I see the press secretary come out and lie about everything. And I see the president come out and make speeches off a teleprompter. Okay, but I think what Putin did was great. And honestly, when you actually listen to him, he's speaking rationally. He's saying, look, Yanukovych was is the legitimate president. He said there's only 3 ways to get rid of him. Either he resigns, either he's murdered, or he's impeached. Okay? And he's talking legalities here, guys. He said none of those have happened, so he is the leader. He asked us to come help him. Now, Putin is denying that Russian troops are there. Maybe they are there. Okay? I don't know. He could be lying about that. But to me, that's so beyond the point that it's just not even funny. It's just so beyond that point. Anyways, the point is he's listening to the legitimate president, okay, getting that. So in return, what happens? Okay, well, freaking economic warfare. So the United States tells Putin, if you, first of all, okay, you just heard me say what Dennis Kucinich said, right? Dennis Kucinich said that we were giving them direct aid, okay? And I just showed you the video of the neo-Nazis. So basically we're giving the neo-Nazis direct aid. Well, Putin in his interview that I actually watched, unlike Jon Stewart, obviously, Putin said that the United States requested that he not give the Ukraine the legal government aid. They requested that instead he goes through the International Monetary Fund. Well, of course! Let's bring more mob people in. You know, we got NATO, we got the IMF. The IMF doesn't give people money, it lends people money. It's all for the best. It doesn't matter that people in the Ukraine are twice as poor as the people in Russia. This doesn't matter. The IMF doesn't care about that. Just like the EU doesn't give a crap either. They want them to have more expensive oil. So what's been told... golly. Anyway, another cgnews.com. So what has happened is, as of March 6th, we've sanctioned Russia. And Putin actually addressed this in his interview. I don't think it had occurred quite yet. His interview was like the day before. But he said, you know, excuse me. He said, if they sanction us, they're going to be hurting themselves too. And that's true. But that's what's happening. We're sanctioning Russia. But see, here's the thing. It just blows my mind. So first of all, let's review a little bit, okay? Because I don't have much more time. Why do we care in the United States? It has to do with NATO. I can't think of any other reason. And it also has to do with the manhood swinging contest between Obama and Putin. There's no other reason I can think of it. Why else would we be funding neo-Nazis who want to perform ethnic cleansing in the Ukraine after a democratic vote? Now, the vote was not constitutional. That is true. That has been reported on our media. But that vote was held after this all hell broke loose because of these neo-Nazis that magically appeared after Yanukovych, the legal president, didn't want to take the deal. Okay? He didn't want to take the deal. So Putin basically is responding to a cry for help from the legal president. So it doesn't matter if Russia's there or not. Okay? It doesn't matter. He said in his interview, he told the guy, don't leave the country, but he also said in his interview, if he goes back, they're going to probably kill him. Now, he didn't come out and say that the United States is funding neo-Nazis, but I could tell he's just too diplomatic to come out and say that. But he did say, yes, that the United States acts like everyone's a lab rat, and I don't really, you know, blame him. So... let's see, I'm trying to find Russian citizen. So here's another reason why the United States might be picking on Russia. I mean, besides the fact that they're just... anyway, Russia's banning GMOs. Well, where are the GMO companies from, guys? The United States. So Russia's like, you want to sanction us? That's cool. We'll keep our dollar. We'll go in with Ukraine. I should have grabbed the book because I could show you. It's called PSYOP. And I just read the first 10 pages. It's a very short little booklet, but it's basically the job of these people to blend in and appear as locals and get the locals to do stuff. Okay, so they learn Russian, they use the Pimsleur tapes because it's all, that way their accent is correct. They go in, that's why it took a couple months. Makes sense. I'm not saying this is actually happening, this is my theory, okay? Because these oil barons, they're freaking mobsters. I mean, just face it. So then they go in there and they instigate the population, and then the civilians are just like suffering, okay? Putin is saying, look, Ukraine is they're our brothers. The legal president's asking me for help. We're going to help. It's a humanitarian thing, and he made it really clear we're not going to go to war with the people of Ukraine. We're going to be standing in front of them. We're going to be protecting them. These neo-Nazi people, who knows who they really are? And he said in his interview, well, you know, they could be going out and buying uniforms. So there's the neo-Nazi people, and then there are people that claim to be Russian troops, and there are Russian tanks that have been seen. So I just don't see where Russia would benefit, correct me if I'm wrong, from, especially when they're letting Yanukovych hide in their country, and he asked them for help, why Russia would be causing this chaos. And they've even said they have no plans of accepting Crimea into Russia. That's just this desperate thing that they did as a result of this complete ethnic cleansing, crazy neo-Nazi insurgency that's come from out of nowhere, magically, after the NATO deal was rejected. So really, who are the bad guys here, guys? I feel like I'm in North Korea. Like, I'm just going to wrap this up. I don't have much else to say. I've just been ranting for 30 minutes, but I'm going to try to rant for 30 minutes a day and leave it at that and keep it to a simple subject. I watched this documentary on North Korea with my husband a couple years ago, and all the news that comes out of there is about how great North Korea is and how bad every other country is. We've been ranked for free press. We're like 43rd in front of Turkey, or right behind Turkey or something. 11,000 documents were requested to be removed from Google last year by state and federal governments in our country based on defamation and other BS laws. You know, this is what it is, guys. We're becoming North Korea. Okay, that's it. What's really going on? If Russian troops are really there, are they the neo-Nazis? I don't really think so, because I have just showed you video of the neo-Nazis saying they don't like the Russians. So to me, that's not the Russians that are the neo-Nazis. So Russia has a stake in the Ukraine. They're neighbors, first of all. If there's a crazy war, guess where all the refugees are going to go? Second of all, I think Putin said in his interview, like I said, that I actually watched, 3 million Ukrainians came to Russia last year or something like that to work and send money back home to the Ukraine because of the economic disparity. Russia's doing better. They make about half the money in the Ukraine. It's kind of like people from Mexico coming to the United States and sending money back. Now, in our case, our government instigated the drug cartels and the craziness, because it seems like our government wants a global currency and for our country to come down. Russia, though, and the Ukraine are shying away from that. Look at their actions, guys. Over here, Fast and Furious, okay, exposed. Over there, Yanukovych, the legal president, asking for his help, denying the NATO. If they're denying the NATO-EU deal, then they're not trying to be the global guys. So I just want to get something out there that's not North Korea style fake media. This is real stuff coming out of EdenCultures.com. Once again, please check me out on Twitter and Facebook, Eden Cultures, EdenCultures.com. I'll be uploading this video later. You can always call in if I could ever get the $3,000 computer that I need, then I could actually go back to doing the video live as well as the radio. But I spend, a lot of time studying this stuff, and I feel like maybe I'm biased against the U.S. I don't know, but I'm certainly not your average Rupert Murdoch-owned shill. So follow me on blogtalkradio.com/Eden Cultures. Go find me on Facebook if you like, Heather Davis with a Y, or my Eating Cultures page. And you guys have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, 30 minutes. And one day, if I can afford it, I'll pay to do 2 hours. In the meantime, if you want to donate to my TubeStar campaign, go to tubestart.com, and I've got a campaign going there where I am trying to get a computer so that this show doesn't actually suck. All right. I love you all. Goodbye.
Have you visited store.edencultures.com yet? I've handpicked hundreds of products that you'll love from America's most trusted online retailer, Amazon.com. You're going to shop there anyway. You might as well support Eden Cultures Media and our talk show and the productions that I feature on my channel by shopping on store.edencultures.com. With categories like media, books and videos, energy balance, family health, fitness, diagnostics devices included, foods that are natural and organic, home and garden, personal care, supplements that you can't eat. You might as well look around. I've weeded through all the stuff you don't want using my experience through these products personally. So please support Eden Cultures Media and all of our productions by shopping at store.edencultures.com today.